1 in 3 retirees reaches 85 with every dollar still there. Untouched. Near none of them meant to. And most of them can name the trip they never took. I'm Earl. 30 years watching folks live with retirement money. This is the quietest mistake I know of. Nobody warns you about this one, 'cause while you're making it, it don't look like a mistake. It looks careful. Here's the piece that turns the whole thing upside down. Your spending in retirement don't climb, it falls. A man spending $75,000 at 62 is spending closer to $52,000 at 90. Same man, same house. Better than 30% less in real money, and near every retirement plan ever built assumes the exact opposite. So you're saving for a bill that shrinks, and you're too scared to pay the one you already got. 6 truths, folks. 6 things about retirement spending that nobody ever sits you down and explains. Get all 6, and you find out 2 things. You need less than they told you, and you can quit apologizing for spending it. Stay with me for number 6, especially. Skip it, and you can do the other 5 perfect and still spend your whole retirement garden money you never touch. That's how a fella ends up the richest man at the grocery store with nowhere in particular to be. Let me put 2 men in front of you. Both retired. Both fine on paper. Live in 2 completely different retirements. Meet Wayne, 67, retired machinist. Walked away with about $520,000 and a retirement plan he wrote himself. And meet Gordon, 69, retired bookkeeper. He's got over $1 million too, and he'll tell you straight that he can't afford much. Gordon ain't lying to you. He believes it. That's exactly what makes this one so hard to fix. Wayne took his whole family to the coast last spring. Gordon's been to the pharmacy and back. Same 6 choices, and not one of them costs $1. If you're over 55, tap subscribe before we get into it. This is the retirement talk your advisor don't get paid to have. Truth number 1. Your retirement spending ain't a straight line, folks. It bends down. Ask a planner what happens to your spending after you quit. Most models say the same thing. Flat plus inflation forever. Forever. Like a fella of 92 eats the same, drives the same, and flies the same as he did at 63. The real numbers don't look anything like that. J.P. Morgan went and tracked what retirees actually spend. 60 to 64 years old, the average household ran about $75,600 a year. 90 to 94, about $51,900. Same kind of household. Real dollars. Inflation already taken out. That's a drop of better than 30% across the stretch. And it ain't poverty, folks. It's preference. The trips slow down first, then the second car. Then the big house starts feeling like a chore instead of a prize. Wayne knew that going in, so he built a plan that spends more early and less later, on purpose. Gordon's plan says the same number every year clean through 95. He's saving hard for a version of himself who won't want any of it. And here's the quiet cost of getting this one wrong. It ain't just about money. Gordon is sitting on $700,000 he will never spend. The trips, the truck, the years, all of it, unused. So go pull last year's real numbers this week. Not a budget, what you actually spent. That's where this whole thing starts. That's 1 down, 5 to go. Truth number 2, retirement ain't one long stretch. It's 3 of them. The folks who study this gave them names. Go-go, slow-go, no-go. And they don't cost anywhere near the same. Go-go runs from the day you quit till around 75. Knees work, curiosity works. Folks are still inviting you places. That's your expensive stretch, and it ought to be. That's the one you spent 40 years saving for. Slow-go, roughly 75 to 85. Nobody announces it. You just quietly start picking the shorter trip. Then no-go, past 85. life pulls in closer to home. Spendin' comes down with it, below inflation. So a plan that spends the same amount every single year is wrong in both directions at once. Too tight while you can still do things, too loose once you can't. It manages to fail you twice. Wayne budgets by the stretch. Bigger number till 75, steps down after that, smaller again past 85. Same total dollars as Gordon's flat plan, folks. Completely different life comes out the other end. And I'll say the honest part out loud. Health costs do climb in that last stretch. That's real, and I ain't dodging it. But the numbers say what you quit spending on falls faster than the medical side rises. Net is still headed down. So put 3 columns on one page. 68 to 75. 75 to 85. After that, different number in each. 2 down, 4 to go. Now remember Gordon, the fellow with $1,002,000 who says he can't afford much? Truth number 3. In retirement, the most expensive thing a retiree owns is the fear of running out. Almost 4 in 10 retirees spend less than they can afford. Not 'cause the money ain't there, but 'cause shrinking the pile feels like falling. 38% holding back out of fear. And the pile their garden keeps growing, while the good years don't. Now, I ain't gonna wave that fear off, 'cause it's got a real argument behind it. So let me say it for you. What if you need care? What if you're the one who makes it to 96 and needs somebody in the house? That's a fair question. And it's the right one to ask. It just don't have spend nothing for 25 years as its answer. The answer's a fence, folks. You set money aside for care and you call it that. Everything outside the fence is allowed to be spent. Money with a job can get spent. Money with no job just sits there getting guarded. Same dollars, different permission. I went through what care actually costs in another one of these. Worth your time if that's the fear holding your breakdown. Gordon never built a fence, so every dollar he owns is doing care duty. All of it. Forever. Just in case. Which means $1,000,002 buys him the exact same Tuesday that 200,000 would. That's the trade he made without knowing it. Wayne fenced his care money off the year he retired. Everything outside that fence he spends without flinching one time. All right. Before number 4, let's grumble about something together for a minute. Why is it the same bank that mails you 4 offers a week can't tell you your own balance without 3 passwords? One of them wants a symbol. The next one won't accept a symbol. And the machine hangs up on you right at the end. So go on and tell me in the comments, what's the most ridiculous hoop your bank or your plan has run you through? Get it out of your system. Then come on back, 'cause number 4 costs the most, in taxes and in years. That's 3. We're halfway. Truth number 4. Quit waiting on the government to give you permission to spend your own retirement money. Here's a number that stopped me cold. About 80% of retirees never touch their retirement savings at all. Not until the required withdrawals kick in and the law makes them do it. 8 in 10 waiting to be told. Think on what that actually means. A fella retires at 65 and don't spend a dollar of his own savings till 73. 8 years he lived smaller than he had to. And he wasn't being careful, folks. He was waiting on a form. And here's the kicker. It don't even save him money. Those untouched years are the cheapest tax years of his whole life. Low income, low bracket, nothing forcing his hand. That is the window to pull money out gently and quietly. Skip it, and the account keeps growing till the law drags a bigger number out of you at a higher rate. So he lived poorer and he paid more. That ain't caution, folks. That's a penalty for never deciding. Now the fair objection, and there is one. Tax-deferred growth is real, and pulling early gives some of it up. True, but it's a trade, not a free lunch, and the man who waits pays it back in bracket, in premiums, and in Saturdays. Wayne started drawing the same year he retired. Small, steady, on purpose, out of the account that made sense. Gordon's waiting on 73, and 73's gonna hand him a bigger bill and a shorter list of things he still wants to do. 4 down, 2 to go. Truth number 5, and this is the one that moves retirees the most. If you're gonna give money to your kids, give some of it while you're still in the room to see what it does. Most folks have this backwards without ever meaning to. The money shows up at the funeral, and it lands on a 58-year-old who's already got the house, already got the career, already figured it out. Meanwhile, those same dollars, 20 years earlier, would have landed on a 35-year-old drowning in a mortgage. Same money, folks. One version changes a life. The other version tops up somebody's retirement account. Wayne covered a chunk of his granddaughter's first house last year, sat right there at the closing table with her. He'll tell you that one afternoon was worth more than any number on any statement he has ever held. Gordon's kids are going to get a lot someday. He just won't get to see 1 minute of what it does for him. And I want to be careful here, 'cause this one can go wrong. Give what's outside the fence, never what's inside it. Don't ever give away your own security to be generous. That ain't generosity. That's a bill you hand your kids later. But if the fence is built and the plan holds, then the timing of a gift is entirely yours to pick. You can be a name in a will, or you can be a man in the room. That right there is the whole difference. Now hold on. Before the last one, I want something honest out of you. Remember the 5 we've covered? The curve, the 3 stretches, the fence, the permission, the timing. Which one landed on you? 'Cause I'd bet a cup of coffee it ain't news that you could spend more. It's that nobody ever said you were allowed to. Gordon's been told his whole life that savin' is the virtue. Nobody ever told him there's a day the job changes. Put it in the comments. What's the one thing you keep putting off 'cause it feels like too much money? I'll read 'em. All right, truth number 6, the one nobody says out loud. Remember what I promised you at the top? Every retiree's got a line he watches so the retirement money don't run out. You need a second line, folks. A line that tells you when you're spending too little. Nobody draws that one. Not one plan I have ever seen. And here's how that works in practice, 'cause there's a real number sitting behind it. Morningstar ran this year's math. Spend a fixed amount and never adjust, and about 3.9% holds up over 30 years. But if you're willing to flex, trim in a bad year, spend more in a good one, that safe number climbs toward 5.7. You see what that does? Same portfolio, same 30 years, roughly 40% more income, just for staying flexible. On 600,000, that's about 23,000 a year against 34,000. Same money in the account. Now the catch, and it's a real one. 5.7 only holds if you actually cut back, when the market says cut back. Promise yourself the raise and skip the trim, and you ain't flexible, folks. You're just spending more and hoping. So write down both lines. The floor you won't go under, and the ceiling you're allowed to reach. Wayne's got both on one page in a kitchen drawer. He looks at it twice a year and spends the rest of his time living. Gordon's got one line and it only points down. So every year he wins the game, and still feels like he lost it. So there's your 6 retirement truths. The curve, the 3 stretches, the fear, the permission, the timing, and the second line. Not one of them is a product and not one costs $1. That's how Wayne lives bigger on half of what Gordon guards. Pick one, folks. Just one, this week. One is how a careful man turns into a man who's actually enjoying it. And here's our word today. If you want my one-page version with those 3 stretches on it, type phases in the comments. One word, phases. If this one landed somewhere true, tap that like button for me. It's the only way YouTube shows this to another fella who's garden instead of living. And if you ain't subscribed yet, come on aboard. Real retirement talk every couple days. No hype and no scare stories. Now tell me straight, just between us. Are you Wayne right now? Or are you Gordon? Nobody's getting judged here. And what's the one thing you finally spent money on and never regretted? I'd bet $1 it involved somebody else. Know your curve, build your fence, and give yourself permission to enjoy the retirement you paid for. This is Earl. Take care of yourselves, folks.